true duelists. My name's Craig Fee. Welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update, circa I hope that this version of the Studio Works Out edition. And of course, here's what made news this week. The next Zodiac has arrived. Magical Musketeers have finally won a YCS. Crossover Breakers has had its set list revealed, continuing Konami's proud tradition of wildly unaffordable sets. Rarity Collection is real, and you can bet that this is definitely actually really your last chance to get quarter century secret rares in the upcoming quarter century Stampede. Definitely not going to be any more after this one, guys, we promise. And get your jars ready, folks. A new figure for Ray has hit the markets. YCS Bologna took place last weekend, the only YCS Europeans can count on to happen in any given year, based on it being one of exactly two that happened in all of 2024. That's old news, I'm aware, but holy fuck. Some 2,500 duelists elected to interact with Italians willingly and in their spare time, all for the opportunity to win a vanilla prize monster that you forget exists, except for exactly the weekends where YCSs happen. With no new sets and no new ban list to shake up the format, you can't really expect a lot to have changed. And when you look at the top 64, that's because fuck all has. Look, Mom, Snake Eye is still topping 10 months into it being seen as one of the, if not the best deck. If I had been doing this in toss format, I would have gone clinically insane reporting on Ray for 28 years in a row. Almost as insane as the fact that Snake Eye didn't actually make it to top 8 at all in this event. That's right, in all the decks of that pie chart, not a single Snake Eye deck made it to top 8, but Merlantian did. Take that, fire format. Water beats fire. That's because of Pokemon logic, and it's right up until it plays against the Fire Dragons, because the Merlantian player did in fact lose to Tempai in top 8, but that doesn't matter because it's not Snake Eye, baby. Progress! Notably, the 8 decks in the top 8 were different decks, assuming you consider Fiendsmith with a sizable Kashtira engine to be different to Fiendsmith with a few Magical Musketeer cards but otherwise being played pure. You almost have to wonder if people are simply bored of Snake Eye, or if the format remains so stagnant that people are discovering the strength of other kinds of decks relative to that of Snake Eyes. But the truth is actually much simpler than any of that, and it's because the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, declared that playing Snake Eye was an act of terrorism, explaining her reasoning by stating that it just makes sense and, quote, after all, what is terrorism on a local level? Also, who the fuck is Rory Scoville? The wonderful diversity was of course met with mixed response from players, from people who enjoy diverse formats, and complaints from people who simply hate Fiendsmith on a personal level, most likely because it's the current best deck. Congrats of course go to the winner of the event, Matthew Bricard, or when said with the proper American enunciation, Matthew Brickard. Pure Fiendsmith with 21 hand traps and 4 Magical Musketeer monsters takes the win, and that's right folks, Lithium foretold it, the next Zodiac has at long last arrived and earned its YCS win. And believe me, I know the gospel of one Lithium 2300 because I am unironically one of his strongest soldiers. I will not be contested on that matter. The list notably plays no Musketeer Spell a Trap cards and uses them solely as link fodder for the standard Fiendsmith plays, and offering some free extensions by summoning them in one column and then activating a Spell a Trap in that same column. That doesn't have to be a Musketeer one, just any of them will do. This did draw the standard attention of, is this really a Musket deck, because it's only playing a handful of their cards in an entirely different deck otherwise. Does this being a Musketeer deck mean that any deck that played 3 Terratop and attack a Tom board was also a Speedroid deck? It's the same number of cards from each deck, ignoring the one extra deck Musketeer card, and this is of course the debate for people with too much time on their hands, because as I said, I follow the gospel of the one true king, and all I see is Tudiak getting its finally deserved and predicted win. The next YCS will be in 1 week's time from the release of this video, but this time it's amongst the Californians, because it's my role as newsman to make fun of any and all regions that the YCS are held in. YCS Anaheim will be held on the weekend of December 7th and 8th, but unlike Bologna, next week we'll have a new set to bring new threats to the meta, offering a proper shake-up to the format, and to see how well they all deal with the meta standard 21 hand traps, that being of course the new decks. Will Ryziel be the tier 0 threat the OCG sometimes said it was? Will Kashtira Fiendsmith still be the play? And will Mermail decks continue to give me lethal weapons grade copium? I don't know, but I do know that Governor Newsom will surely follow the communist Europeans and label Snake Eye a terrorist threat. Because look at his actions so far. Yes, that is absolutely going to happen. Real. Master Duel received its newest ban list last week as well, right on Friday, so it was just in time for me to not be able to report on it, as is standard for Konami's blatant anti-Craig fee bias. Also shown, blatant Tenpai bias, arguably, from people who really want the current best deck to die always. Because the list did of course do absolutely nothing to address Tenpai properly, instead only electing to smack some hand traps around, and of course ban Pot of Prosperity. The banning of Prosperity makes sense when you follow the trend of the format, not because of its consistency and the fact that it exists in best of ones, but because it's another opportunity for Konami to of course disrespect Canadian Jesse Cotton. And if you're wondering why they would do that, the first part of his description there was Canadian. What else need be said? The only thing notable about this list in the grand scheme to me is Shifter, because good God do people love seeing less Shifter in their lives. It's commonly thought that that's because of Shifter's insane strength against so many decks, shutting off graveyards and preventing a recursion of cards and being so insufferably one-sided, but it's actually entirely because Flu Wanderese plays this card, and anything Konami does to stop people from playing those fucking birds is a good thing. I know that I'm thankful for one thing this Thanksgiving, and that is of course eating a dead bird, because there's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing this stupid thing suffering through one means or another, just as God intended. In upcoming product news, the set Crossover Breakers will be releasing next week, giving the game 2 new decks to play and some amount of impact on the metagame of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Ryzeal deck has been called a Tier 0 threat by some in the OCG, and Malice is a Cybers and Shifter deck, presumably designed to punish Joshua Schmidt for bringing Paleo into so many duels on Master Duel, clogging up the ladders, and wasting so many people's time. That would be because, Lord knows, his fan base isn't half as good at playing that deck as he is. And I know, because I'm speaking from experience. They are still, of course, following the death sentence of printing that these deck build packs have been following for a number of years now. That is 10 ultra rares in the set and only 3 ultra rares per box. So like Centurion and Vanquish Soul before, you can look forward to this anti-wallet set in these strong meta contenders. Ryzeal has 5 ultra rares to its name and is the most anticipated deck for the meta, meaning you can expect some Centurion level of pricing at minimum, and Malice has 4 ultra rares to its name. This one is of course expected to be strong, but not as strong in the meta. That's the consensus I found, and you might even like the fact that 2 of the ultra rares, from what I know, are only 1-ofs in the deck, which might help you save some money if you're looking to play Malice. But that would only be true if we ignored the largest, most pressing issue of Malice, and that is that the monsters are women, or as the smelliest person at your local calls them, females. Yikes. So look forward to paying out the ass for those ones too. Also in existence, Ryujay. So unimportant, I don't care whether or not I pronounced that correctly. Only 1 ultra rare for this forgettable Sword Soul variant to ever exist. There's also reprints of some things like Exciton Knight, Stick and Chair for 2015 Teller Knight fans, and Monk of the Tenyi for actually exactly me, because I've been unable to find a copy of that card anywhere, and I want some really cheap ones for a pure Tenyi deck. It's just for me, folks. That's the point here. I could also mention the fact that some of the rares from this will be included as super rare as well, to give your set some extra bling, or the standard 15 collector rares or 10 quarter century secret rares that only last 1 year, except for the fact that they last 3, but it's just all the new cards, and functionally who gives a shit, because this is just part of the unending line of boxes that not a single person meaningfully wants, be it the players not looking forward to buying them or the OTS stores not looking to having them rot on the shelves. And if you want better from Konami, you can enjoy this actual real message they provided in exact clear context as to whether or not they'll change that anytime soon.
What you want? You na gaduh dengan saya anytime. Tanya saja, kita datang. Fuck you.
Konami also released 2 pieces of news for upcoming products this week. The Blue Eyes Structure Deck has been confirmed to be delayed by a single week, releasing on the 14th of February instead of the 7th. This was done so as to make the Blue Eyes deck an ideal Valentine's Day gift, as there's nothing that says I'll love you forever more to your partner than getting them the 98th wave of Blue Eyes support, and a deck that they can play right up until they die, which is a mercy Blue Eyes will never get, because it will live on forever as a concept, and is a really shitty part of like Shadow Realm jokes for people who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! At all until the heat death of the universe. And the quarter century Stampede has been announced, giving players Rarity Collection 4 this coming April. Set to release on the 9th for OTS stores and the 11th everywhere else, this set will have another more than 80 cards in the standard 7 rarities for Rarity Collections, and another 200 nostalgia cards in the nostalgia slot. But what's notable is that the 200 card nostalgia pool this time will have cards that were requested by players to Konami through their Twitter account, which, going by what I saw from the votes, should mean that at least 172 of the 200 nostalgia slots will be going to exactly Elemental Here Neos, who, like Snake Eyes in Europe, is apparently a terrorist according to Konami, based on the fact that they will not interact or discuss it at all. Nothing else has been revealed as of now, but we can assume that there won't be any cards from the core set that were in any of the past 3 Rarity Collections, meaning there's desperate copium for Kashtira and or Bestial reprints. Konami has also said that this set and Alliance Insight will be the last sets to include the quarter century secret rare, which I believe is the 3rd time they've said a set will be the last time to get that rarity. Before, of course, they announced the inevitable quarter century Monsoon to be released in November of 2025 with 400 nostalgia cards, and once again, all the cards that you actually wanted to buy in the 2025 Megatins, but this time in a set worth buying, because I will never not be salty about those dog shit fucking tins. And big news for fans of Sky Striker, as an all-new figure for the Sky Striker archetype has been revealed. Calgary gets its own Kotobukiya figure, a name that I absolutely definitely did not butcher at all. This is exciting news for people who are still somehow spamming the I Love Ray copy pasta, and of course fans of the canonically 13-year-old child. This is of course the part where someone in the comments gets really upset and comments that she actually aged over the course of the manga and is in fact 15 years old, as if that makes a fucking difference. This is a pretty nifty figure though, all things considered. A cool pose, going for about 36,000 yen, for whatever that converts to in your local currency, and it stands just shy of 16 inches tall. And more notably, you can tell what's going on here in regards to its legs. And I'm just saying, it's a weird-ass pose in the original art of Kagari. What the fuck are those Go-Go Gadget Extendo legs, and where are they going? And that's it for your main stories in Yu-Gi-Oh! This week. I, of course, neglected to mention the Shadow Duelist event and Xavier Woods, but then you'd forgotten about it entirely up until right now as well, so do you really blame me for that? The real tragedy, of course, was me not talking about WONKO. Fucking WONKO! The newest Noble Knight, we're getting WONKO'd on! As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee. Thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe and drop a like as well. Not only will you get more WONKO in the future, but you'll also impress your smoking Italian wife, and best of all, you'll immediately become a true duelist. Some 2,500 players elected to willingly interact with Italians in their free time. You done? Jumping up? YCS Bologna took place this past weekend, offering Europeans their only reliable chance at playing a YCS based on the fact that it's one of 2 that happened in all of 2024. Some 2,500 duelists elected to interact with Italians willingly and in their free time, all for the opportunity, of course, to win a vanilla prize card that you forget exists except for exactly when YCSs happen. With no new sets or a new ban list to shake up the format, you can't really expect a lot to change. And you'd be right, because when you look at Top 64, you will not be surprised to see Snake Eye. Look, Ren, there's Snake Eye in Top 64. It's still one of the best decks even 10 months. Are you surprised? I'm not. And you won't be surprised to see that Snake Eye continues through the pie charts of top tables, from top 32 into top 16, but you will be surprised probably that it doesn't make it to top 8.